Thank you so much. There we go. Please welcome, first of all, the director of the film, Bing Wang. Thank you, Bing. Executive producer, Delbert Whetter. A good friend, she's in the film, Mara Stevens. Mara, thank you so much. I'm going to bring out first our moderator, Jackie Roth. She's a producer of films, including the Academy Award winner, nominated film, Sound and Fury. Thank you so much. And finally, please welcome Brian Blais. Brian, he's here.
Already. Check, 2, 3.
Check.
Check. Is this on? Yes.
You're set.
Great.
Okay. Thank you very much, Isaac. Welcome all of you for coming tonight at the premiere of this film. It's the first time it's been shown. Go behind. And so tonight we are here with Alan's partner. How many years were you partners? 30 years. 30 years. He left us 1 year ago. And now your twins, they are 12 and 13?
Yep. Yep. Next month they'll be 13.
All right, so here we are. I'm sure
Pull it back.
there are many questions, but first I want to introduce the panel. I'm going to give them the floor. Bing, who was the director, please. We know that you worked with Alan and Brian, but how many years was this project?
So first, thank you for coming and staying, and thank you, ReelAbilities Film Festival, for providing this platform to showcase the film. It took me about 9 years to finish this film, and it was quite a journey. I just wish it came out 1 year earlier so Alan could be here watching this with us and criticizing every decision I made in the film. Yep, so I hope you enjoy the film.
And Bing, I have a follow-up question for you. Everybody, I apologize right now. We only have 25 minutes for this panel, so we're going to speed along, and then after the film, we will be upstairs if you want to talk to them individually. So I'm going to rush through this discussion. Back to you, Bing. How many hours of footage did you have?
So it's funny, it's like in order to gain the trust, it took me 2 years to convince them to film, to make the story, like film about them. So during that 2 years, I accumulated just like 500,000 hours footage because I just want to be in their life. And until they kind of, as you see the film, the style is like a cinema verite. So until like they really feel like I'm a fly on the wall. So a lot of the footage they doesn't make into film, and I wasn't even planning to use them. It's just to gain the trust and make sure they're comfortable with me. So if you count that, it's like easily over 1,000. But to really seriously consider the footage as a film material, probably 200. So.
Okay. So from 200 hours of footage, you created a 90-minute film. Congrats. Yes. And it's an interesting story. So Delbert, you were the executive producer, but you were not involved in this from the get-go, correct?
That's right.
When did you become a part of the team?
Well, I introduced him to the organization of Film Independent, kind of an organization in LA, is an advocate organization, and that was how we became acquainted. And I watched his film, and I fell in love with his work. I fell in love with the story. And I felt a real connection. I'm a father of kids, and we are on different paths. However, I'm also on a board of an organization called ReelAbilities, which is an organization that interacts with Hollywood and various producers and people who are in the field, in the industry, getting deaf and disabled people representation on and behind the scenes in Hollywood. And so it was really trying to get that going, and also we were really working on avoiding the negative stigma. And often those people with disabilities are not seen on the screen. And so it's our goal, our mission, to really get disabilities shown on the screen, but not in the negative way that they generally are. So we want to see, this story was gay, deaf couple, people, and they're just like anybody else, going through their own struggles, their own journeys, their own experiences. And myself as a father is very similar to my experience as well. So I could really identify with that story too.
Thank you. Thank you, Delbert.
Nope.
And now, you see, Brian has seen the film for the very first time this evening.
No.
Yes, so I just saw it this minute, Brian is saying. And Jackie's responding, this is a beautiful story. So Brian, I know that you worked on this with Bing for 9 years. You and Alan shared life together with your children, and now you're seeing it on the big screen. So what's your first impression? And Brian's response is, I can't believe that this is happening this evening. And it's, I hadn't seen it before this evening, so I've seen snippets, and some part of the story I'd forgotten, because some of it was filmed 9 years ago, right? So you gave me a lot of memories by seeing it this evening, and wow. When I look at how small my children were in this film, and now they're almost 13, so they've grown so much since then. I never thought that it would happen. You know, there were just snippets. I thought that stuff would be put in, and maybe things would not be there, and it was just going to happen eventually. But Bing, I can't thank you enough.
Yeah, Alan would die again if he saw this.
I agree with you, Mara. And also,
Hey, Bing.
Alan, I want to tell you that Alan definitely would have enjoyed this film, very much so. And Jackie's saying, he's watching from up there. Yes, he is. And he's with us tonight, definitely watching. And now I'd like to introduce Mara, who basically has been a part of the family for a long time. And you're the godmother of their children, of their twins. Could you explain your role? It's more than just a godmother, but you've been involved in many different aspects of their lives. Would you like to share that?
Yeah, I was their family interpreter for many years, joining them on vacation, visiting in Florida with their parents, not always an easy reality. I went to visit their parents, his parents.
I went to Mother's Day.
I went to Mother's Day events at their schools often, and I went to teachers' conferences, my own kids as well. My kids would, or they would text me in the middle of the night saying, they're sick, what do I do? And so I was like, give them medicine, I don't know. You know, but still today, with Alan gone, I can't tell you that Brian and I are in contact every day, many times every day. It's a lot with the kids. It's been a journey. I can't imagine life without Brian and without his kids. And my kids are here tonight. They know what our lives and what we've all been through.
Yes, I remember there was one story when there was a misunderstanding about weight, about pounds.
Oh my God. Yes.
Right?
Yes, the kids were born in India, of course. I was the first one to find out because the doctor called me and told me about the weight, but I didn't understand the weight in Indian, what their system was for weight, and I didn't understand it was ounces or...
I think it was like, we thought 5 ounces or something.
Right. And Alan flipped out and was crying and...
Absolutely, thought they would be infinitesimal.
Right, I just completely didn't understand. Right, he thought they were like specks.
Right, but it was actually 5 pounds, not 5 ounces. 5 pounds.
So I did introduce them to my doctor to a lot of things like, you know, counselors and advice. I gave them advice and I feel like I met the
I've
met the two of you in 2004, right?
2003, I think. 2003 or 4.
Something like that. And then eventually we became family.
And this is Jackie. Speaking of the weight difference in India, there are many
Right.
things that do get lost
International.
in translation, as we all know. And even when we're in our own language of languages here in the country between ASL and English, something gets lost. So your family is definitely a non-traditional family. And Bing, you captured it beautifully. You did.
Gorgeous.
That's right.
Really beautiful.
We want to say thank you and congrats. So, Bing, you brought Alan's family into this, and many don't realize that most deaf children grow up within a hearing family and it's a very different experience than those who grow up within a deaf family. So I think that the way you captured them talking about, oh, my mom doesn't understand me, the dynamics between the parents, that was very clear. And I'm sure many in the audience recognized, and I know the deaf people in the audience are here. So many will understand that. I think you probably heard some laughter during the film. And now I want to ask each one of you the very same question. Now that we've seen the film, it's complete, and I'm going to ask each of you to answer this. What do you hope that audiences will get from seeing this film?
So, my hope has changed many, many times during the course of 9 years. As a documentary filmmaker 10 years ago, I just finished my first feature, and I was looking to get into the deaf world. So I studied the language, the culture, and thanks to my professor, I don't know if Faye is here, Faye Ginsberg here, leading the way. So I got into the field and signed up at a sign language school as a level 1 student. Brian was my teacher, and Alan was the boss. And I don't know if they try to downplay their relationship at the work environment, but maybe it's my gaydar, so I just pick it up. I said, there's something going on between the two. So at that time, I didn't confront them, but I went back to China for family matters, and I came during my jet lag. I was going through a Weibo, W-E-I-B-O, it's like Chinese Twitter, or Chinese X now. It's there's a magazine publishing topics about featuring photographs of gay dads having children, which is quite sensational in China even now. So I saw the picture of you two with the kids. And that's when we just knew each other for 2 weeks. And so I brought a photo back to the US and just confronted them. It's is that you? And then got to know their story. And that time, my goal is just as a young filmmaker, just to make film, a very interesting film about the communicational issues in the family. And I think a lot of even immigrant families can relate to, when the older generations, they're supposed to be the symbol of power, but they have stigma attached. And as a case, you learn to communicate for them. And I don't know how you play, my kid is here, how do you place your pride, in your parents? So that's my angle. But the 2 years of following them, getting in, just totally immersed in the deaf world, following them around, really annoying person. I think the kids found out, oh, you're here again. So that becomes more and more a responsibility, and a part of the family is I want to tell the story. But then in the past 3 years, I had my own family. I became a father of 2. My 3-year-old daughter is here, Phoebe. And I hope all the noises you heard probably is from her, but she's patient. She sat through the movie. And my 3-month-old son, William, is at home, of course, watching the stream. So, so for me, it's my perspective totally changed after I became a father. All the things I thought it would be, it's about being deaf or being hearing. Actually, it's just being a parent and being a toddler. So that helps me to relate to the story even further. And now in the future, I just hope more people can see this film, as my producer, Dao, can explain better.
I definitely think people will see this film. So Delbert.
Right. I really want more people to be able to see parents' journeys, both straight and not straight, gay and straight, two women, two men, different couples coming together. Really, it doesn't matter how many books you read, how many studies you engage in. It's starting fresh. It's about learning new things and about that journey as deaf or hearing, gay or straight, part of a family, part of a long heritage or not. How you learn things is really important. Obviously, deaf children born of hearing parents, as Jackie said before, 90% of all deaf kids have hearing parents. So maybe often that parent has never met a deaf person, and then suddenly they have a parent. Their child is deaf, and they learn the hard way. And sometimes they get good advice, sometimes they receive bad advice, depending on where their children end up going to school or how their children should be educated. So I can see the love in your family is so evident, and I love seeing it in the film.
Boy, was the love. And this is Brian. Wow, you really gave us a great deal of information, definitely. And I see that you learned a lot from my family, the adoption, and then you having these children. So congratulations,
Roma.
Bing. And when I remember one time, Bing, you were in level 1 or level 2, and you came up to us and you said, I'm interested in making a film. And we said, oh, we can give our student a chance, if you wanted to video something. When we thought, okay, why not, go ahead. And we had imagined that it was just going to be like homework for a college class or something. And then to see all of this arise from that moment. And it's been quite a process. And then when COVID hit, the things were quiet for a while, right? So we just assumed stuff was on hold. And then Alan died. And when I learned that you wanted the film to be continued, I didn't really think it was going to happen, and yet here we are. So it really has hit me in a profound way. And I hope that this film is sent to India. I hope that they should be exposed to what it means to have gay and lesbian parents having the joy of these children. So that's what I want to say. India needs to see this.
For me, obviously not having Alan here is very tough.
Yes.
There's a lot of different things that came up. His dad talking about the alcoholism, speaking about his role, his mom's role, their judgments or not. I didn't know his parents well. I did know his parents well. Gay, deaf, different races. There was so much going on, right? Huge amount. And I think many people will take away that life is like you're able to break cycles. And how do you do that? You grow up in a specific way. How do you raise children? You can change things, but how do you do it? I think that that parenting is just a tough road. So, and it's amazing, Bing. Thank you.
May I add a little more to this? Thank you. So, Bing, from this film, I would imagine the audience has thoughts about what is appropriate parenting, that there are certain rules and customs and cultural norms. And I would imagine that the audience watching it would want to then think, is it appropriate for a gay parent couple? Is it appropriate for deaf couples? Is it appropriate?
Right, because like now as single parents, both of us now, we talk about that now, because I have an ex-husband, and he's very involved in the children's lives, and now you're a single dad.
Yes, I am.
I mean, how do you deal with that? It's tough, right? I mean, it's still, it's what we see here. I mean, if I could add to that, when I saw the movie, I see the relationship with my daughter is the same age as your kids. And I see we struggle to communicate. She won't sign. Come on, I'm like, you have to sign. I am deaf. And she won't.
And she wants to speak instead.
Right. So, parents who move from another country to America might not have fluency in English. And the parents will complain, like, why won't the kids talk with me in our language, our home language? And it's a similar kind of thing with hearing and deaf, hearing kids of deaf parents. And everything is a different journey. It's very different child to child.
And this is Jackie. Did you want to add something, Bing?
Just add to that as a fellow parent too. I remember the first scene, the opening scene, when they were waking up like 3 hours before the school the bus picked them up. That was the first scene, like one of the first scenes I filmed, and I was highly judgmental because at that time I didn't have children, and I just sneaked in at 4 a.m. in the dark and just like got ready to ambush them. That also shows trust, by the way. Speaking of that, and that really makes me think. Looking back, it's like either your parents or not. It's judging somebody else parenting is so easy. It's like almost like you judge without taking any responsibilities on social media and watching movies, and then see people doing that in the park. And I mean, that's what I want to tell Brian too, because I know it could be a source for stress when you're showing this film to public. It's like, after making this film like for 8-9 years, I care about you as a friend and as a family member even, but it's like really how people understand your parenting, how they judge your parenting shouldn't be your concern. You have brilliant children. I think Seth and Sarah, they are not here today, but if give them time, one day if they come to the future screenings, they can show people how amazing they are now.
We'd love to take some questions.
Oh, Delbert?
Right. And also that whole thing about refusing to eat American food. Oh, if I could add something also. I think it's not easy to accept someone coming in and filming your life. To inviting someone into your home, into your private life, every private moment, it's very brave. To share those stories with everyone to see, it's very moving.
I would agree, but obviously we had a trust with Bing so that we were able to go ahead. So gotta send you lots of love for that. And this is Jackie now. And even your father-in-law at the very end admitted that he wished he had done it differently.
Yeah.
And that is a huge admission, a huge step for him. And I know you will want to talk with the panelists. They will be upstairs. I want to thank everyone for coming tonight.
Thank you so
and
much.
applause
Thank you,
to the
Jackie.
panel.
Thank you.
Upstairs.
We're going to take more questions upstairs. Thank you so much, everyone. Please join us all week. Thank you so much. We look forward to seeing you at other screenings and help spread the word. Have a good night.